Kalki and Vikram, thank you for talking to me. For me, Hrishi K, and everybody who's watching and listening, I just absolutely love the 3 episodes I've seen, and I can't wait to dig my teeth into the remaining ones. So, here's Neeraj, who's directed Masan, right? And I know you guys are family and just one phone call away and this and that, but there's got to be a valid reason for picking him to direct this particular series as showrunner, because he's never done something like this. I mean, the interrogation and this, and his genre almost seems totally different. So your reasons for picking him?
A series is always about characters more than plot and more than style. And I think because the style of the show had been sort of like set anyway in season 1, for Neeraj it was easier for him. I mean, if you ask him, he'll say it was more difficult for him. But I always felt that Neeraj can step into a setup. It's there. But because of his, he's amazing with actors. He's really good with actors. He's fantastic, And a series is so much about how the characters and how you really sort of like work with them. And I think that's the reason why, I also believe that every director can do everything. Yeah. I think it's sometimes unfair to sort of like slot a director into a certain section because, hey, they can only do, that kind of film. I believe Neeraj can...
Directors get typecast too then.
Yeah, of course they do. They do get typecast.
Anurag just said that he can never be as technically sound as him, which slots him as the technically sound guy.
I'm one of the non-typecastable ones, but Anurag is, like the gangster guy, and it's like initially I was like the family guy, and now I'm like the...
Yeah, now you're all
the
over
one
the
man.
place.
I'm all over the place.
You're all over the place.
I don't know. Yeah, totally all over the place.
So I asked them because I'm such an audio person that I'm tripping over the background score. The
score is amazing.
It's just fantastic, and there's then some alap happening, some Sufi stuff happening. Suddenly some grunge stuff comes in, but they just turned around and they said, you were responsible for that. So the synergy of working with Alokananda and getting this sacred game sound out. I mean, I think it's good enough to go on an album and release it as an album.
It is. She's phenomenal. She's a real talent. I mean, she's a special talent. She's Buddhadev Dasgupta's daughter, so she has a filmmaking background in a sense, but she's also assisted Amit Trivedi. She's been to school in London, and she's a real talent. And it's funny though sometimes when her first draft, we call it Aloka's first draft, and when it comes in, because there's a lot of purging that needs to happen. It's like when you write a lot of shit and then eventually throw it away, and then so her first drafts are always these super experimental things with like didgeridoos and. And I knew this, right? Because I've done Trapped with her and I've seen that first draft. I'm like, okay, this is not the zone. I get what you're trying to do, but throw this away. So on Sacred Games as well, the first episode, I was expecting it, but everybody else was looking and saying, the fuck, this is the music? It's like, it's okay. But yeah, she has her Aloka's first draft moments where those things happen.
So I know it's an adaptation, but Vikram Chandra, what does he feel about it? I mean, do you get that as a constant feedback? Anurag did mention that he's made one list or a couple of lists and given you, but you always want to know, right? I mean, the original author, what does he feel about this thing? I mean, some people would say blasphemy, some people would say how cool. So where is he at?
He's in the how cool zone. He loves it. He's right in the beginning. When my very first meeting with him, it was more about with complete respect to him. I'm like, it's your novel and we love it, but here's what I think is wrong for a TV show format, and I told him exactly what I wanted to change in the approach, and he got it. He's like, look, it's yours. It's like you guys need to do what you need to do. Don't stick to necessarily stick to the story of what I've actually sort of like done. We've taken the blueprint of what Mr. Chandra has set around, and then gone and done our own thing, and he loves it. He loves, because for him also, he's watching episodes. He's like, oh, this is great, because he also can't predict anything. He can't predict anything that he's sort of like seeing. So he's seen all the episodes, and his feedback's like minor stuff. Is like, hey, that gun in that thing, there's a little problem over there. Like, noted. He's very micro about those things.
Who's your character to watch out for in series 2? You're not allowed to say Ganesh Gayatonde or Sartaj. So, I mean...
Or Bhatya, Guruji, Jojo. These are 3. KDY. These are...
Who would be your favorite character amongst these? I mean, and why? Like, I know Jojo's my favorite, and I know why. Do you know who your favorite would be?
Because Kalki sitting, I'm going to say Bhatya is my favorite.
That's not good. You ruined it by saying that. Ruined it.
Yeah, erase the because Kalki is here. Bhatya is my favorite character in season 2. Actually, when he mentioned
Why
it-
pray? You have to justify it.
KDY is probably my favorite.
You have to say why.
Yeah, I think she's.
I think KDY is like what's going to happen afterwards is going to be very cool with KDY. No, I like Bhatya's character. Bhatia is genuinely my favorite character because I think it's the most layered of all these characters. There's somebody who's, Guruji is what he is, and there's a big surprise coming, but he's what he is. KDY has a lovely sort of like, past future kind of thing happening. Jojo is great because of the character, but I think Bhatia and what Kalki's done, because of these living in two worlds and being able to sort of like take that personality who became that personality, but there's a simmering sort of like uneasiness about her, which I really love. I love that even the first time you see her in Sartaj World in episode 2, there's this whole like, she's playing it very calm and you think, but you know that there's something is wrong here, something is right. And I love that.
Thank you very much. I know.
Thank you very much.
You have a minor plane to catch,
I have a minor plane
which is going to Jew.
Yeah.
have a lovely day. Thank you for talking to me.
Thanks, HrishiKay.
So is your character Croatian? I mean, what nationality is she? I know because the little bit I've seen, it's an ashram in Croatia. Does that mean she's Croatian?
No, actually, she's French. Her mother is Palestinian, her father is Jewish, and she grew up in France. That's her background. Yeah,
That
heavy.
is quite cool.
Heavy.
It's quite cool. There's another Netflix show about Rajneesh, and
Wild Wild Country.
and Ma Anand Sheila, again, what Vikram said just resonated, saying that there's in the outward side there's calm, but there's something sinister happening there. Did you ever watch that series? And comparisons are inevitable.
I have seen that series, and it's a great series. I really enjoyed it. But I would say they're very different characters. Firstly, though, this is not this is fictional. But the way, there's something very different about Bhatia. She's not. I think Maan and Sheila is a very vicious character in some ways. I mean, she from the beginning she's got how do you say, bad intentions, right?
She is, yeah.
But I don't think Bhatia really believes in what she's doing. She's not, I wouldn't say she's a conspirer in the same sense. I don't know, it's very different.
Fair enough. But you've also lived in Pondi, and you've seen Oroville, and there's also, Ma is a very central figure there.
Yeah, mother, yeah.
And what are actors without their own life influences? Was that at all an influence? I mean, growing
Only
up,
subconsciously.
yeah?
Only I didn't ever consciously think of someone from my ashram to play this character.
But you did go to the Matra Mandir and meditate.
I grew up
You
like
grew
that,
up
right?
there.
I grew up like, I remember being very bored as a kid when we used to go to the Matra Mandir and sit for 1 hour of meditation. And the slightest sound echoes in that chamber. So I've been in that environment. I know what it is to do these workshops for bonding and community, love. And I've seen the good and the bad side of it. It's made me, a very sort of, I would say, tolerant person. It's made me understand a world view better of different kinds of people. But at the same time, I've seen that side of that gyan, and everything comes with a long story. Everyone has a story with a philosophical message to it, and when you hear that, you want to rebel against it. So all these aspects, I'm sure, have subconsciously entered, but I haven't used it specifically.
Could you go back now and meditate there, the pin source of light, and such a beautiful place? Yeah, you
Definitely,
could, huh?
I do. I mean, I don't do it religiously. I don't go there and say I have to go and meditate. But if I happen to be there and I have the time, I enjoy it. But I feel you can meditate, in the chaos of your apartment in Bombay also.
True that. Your first time working with Saif Ali Khan?
No, actually we did a film called Happy Ending. Yeah.
Correct. Totally different zone.
Very
though.
different, yeah.
Was that Raj and DK's film? Was that?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So you already knew each other from before.
Yes, yeah.
I have only, the first 3 episodes to go by, and I know that, he comes in and you have some kind of minor interaction with him. The graph of this particular character, what can we expect without giving too much of the story away?
I mean, she's definitely his confidant, and you see a lot of his unraveling of his past. And you know, at first she seems like this very absorbing, calm person. But as the pressure builds in her story as well, you see how that changes and what that does to her. Their relationship gets more complicated, definitely.
What was your reaction when you saw season 1? Were you like, wow? Or were you like, nice? Were you like, interesting?
I saw it in 3 nights. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I remember thinking how it's hard to have a favorite character because there's so many good characters. I didn't just, want to know the story of Gaitonde and Sartaj. I also, I was weeping when Kartikar died because I was like, he's so relatable and human, Cuckoo's character I loved. I thought she stood out. So yeah.
So I know that Varun Grover and his team of writers have adapted it from the original book. But was there ever a curiosity to pick up the original book after working on this? Or you just didn't want anything of the original material to, sometimes out of curiosity. Like, I read somewhere that, Pacino and De Niro were doing The Godfather and then they got so into it and they said, now let's go back and read the Mario Puzo novel. Did that ever happen with you saying,
it hasn't happened so far. I might just pick up and read it at some point. I probably will, but I didn't feel like reading it for the story, especially since Bhatia doesn't exist in the book. So I was like, where is she?
But you had an inkling very early on that you would be written into the piece, or you just
zero? I didn't know at all. In fact, I had just seen season 1, and I think maybe a month after that, I got a call for the audition, and I was like, "What? Yeah, cool, pressure, gotta do this, gotta get it."
What is it that works for Sacred Games that has become an international phenomenon?
I mean, I think it's, what is it that works? I think it's just such an original story to this country, and it's not. We've not portrayed that in a way where the international world can also absorb it. We have Bollywood, which I don't think really represents this country. And then we have these small indie films, which are about very, like maybe a very specific problem of caste or something. But we don't have an overall kind of viewpoint, almost like a bird's eye view on the country and its politics and what forms it. And I think that this show does that super well. And, and that always works. It's like Narcos worked because you understood the culture of that place. You understood the attitudes of people. You've got a perspective like you could be, like you knew about that place even though you've never been there.
Correct. Well, I can't wait to see how your character graph unfolds.
Thanks.
And see more of Bhatia on screen. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank
Cheers.
you.